The house is quiet, not the peaceful kind of quiet, no, the kind that presses down on a man's chest. Heavy, like an old regret. Richard sits alone. The late afternoon light stretches long shadows across the floor. He used to love this time of day. Once this house was alive, filled with laughter. His children's voices echoing through the halls. The warmth of friends dropping by unannounced. The hum of conversation over a cup of coffee. Yeah? Now there's only silence. His eyes drift to the phone sitting on the table. It doesn't ring. It hasn't rung in days, maybe weeks. Strange thing is, he's not even sure anymore. There was a time when he knew exactly when the next call would come. His best friend checking in, his son asking for advice, his brother reminiscing about the old days. But now, the only sound filling the room is the slow, relentless ticking of the clock. Time. Moving forward, leaving him behind. He exhales, picks up the phone, scrolls through his contacts. Familiar names stare back at him. Names that once held meaning, men he shared stories with, laughed with, built a life alongside. His finger hovers over one. What would I even say? Would they even want to hear from me after all these years? His throat tightens. He hesitates, and then, just as quickly, he sets the phone down. Maybe tomorrow. But then, the news comes. A name on that list gone. No warning. No goodbye. Just gone. And suddenly, tomorrow doesn't exist. A sick feeling settles in his stomach. Heavy. Cold. It's not just grief. It's something worse. I should have called. He thought he had time. But time ran out. Friendships don't last forever if you don't hold on to them. If you've ever found yourself hesitating, waiting for the right time to reach out, this is your sign. Don't wait. Call them. Today, at Elderly Wisdom Story, we share the lessons too many people learn when it's already too late. If you believe in the power of storytelling, in the wisdom that comes with age, in the importance of family, then be part of this journey. Subscribe now. Let's keep these lessons alive. For you, for your loved ones, for the generations to come. Richard never thought loneliness would find him. After all, he had always been surrounded by people, friends from his younger days, men who had stood by him through weddings, promotions, late-night talks about dreams and regrets. They had laughed together, cried together, built their lives side by side, and yet, somehow, without warning, they had disappeared. Not all at once, not in some dramatic moment, but slowly, quietly, like sand slipping through his fingers. He used to believe those friendships were unshakable, that no matter how much time passed, no matter how far life took them, they would always find their way back to each other. We'll catch up soon. Let's grab a drink next week. I'll call you when things settle down. The words had been spoken so easily, so casually, promises tossed into the future as if tomorrow was guaranteed. But soon never came. Life had a way of interfering. Work, family, responsibilities, the things that once felt urgent, so consuming until one day they weren't. Until one day he looked around and realized the invitations had stopped. First, he didn't even notice. The space between phone calls stretched a little longer. A missed birthday here. A forgotten message there. He told himself it was just a busy season, that friendships didn't need constant tending. But then weeks turned into months, months into years. And suddenly, the friendships that had once defined his life were nothing more than names in a contact list. Names he hadn't spoken aloud in far too long. Tonight, the silence in his house feels heavier. He reaches for his phone, scrolling through those names. Each one holds a memory, a story, a piece of his past. His finger pauses over one. John. They had been inseparable once. Sundays at the diner. Summer barbecues. Late-night conversations about everything and nothing. He hesitates. Would John even pick up? Would it be awkward after all this time? Would he even remember the last time they spoke? His thumb lingers over the call button. He nearly closes the screen. But then, something inside him pushes past the hesitation. He presses dial. The phone rings once, twice. His pulse quickens. Maybe this was all in his head. Maybe John had been waiting for his call too. 3 rings, 4, and then a voice. But it's not John. I'm sorry, sir. John passed away last year. The words land like a hammer to his ribs, knocking the air from his lungs. Richard grips the phone, struggling to breathe. The voice on the other end is still talking. Something about condolences. Something about how John had always spoken fondly of his friends. But Richard can't process it. He just stares at the name on the screen. A name that now belongs to the past. a name he had meant to call so many times before, but never did. A lump rises in his throat. He closes his eyes, and for a moment, he hears John's voice again, laughing, teasing, saying, "We'll catch up soon." But there is no more soon. No more second chances. Just an empty house, a silent phone, and the unbearable weight of a call that should have been made long ago. He thought he had time, but time ran out. Richard tells himself it doesn't matter. The silence, the empty days, the messages left unsent. He tells himself he's fine. They're busy. They have their own lives. They don't need me hovering, calling, asking for time they don't have. He convinces himself that this distance is normal, that it's just part of growing older. This is how it's supposed to be. So, he stops trying, stops dialing numbers he once knew by heart, stops sending the occasional "How've you been?" message, the ones that used to lead to laughter, to conversations that stretched on for hours, to the feeling of belonging. Weeks pass, then months. The phone remains still, silent, indifferent. He tells himself it's better this way, that he's saving them the trouble. But every time he glances at that screen, something inside him pulls tight. Still, he does nothing. Then, one evening, the phone rings. The sound is so unexpected, so foreign now, that for a moment, he just stares at it. His heart jumps. A flicker of something rises in his chest. Maybe it's his son. Maybe it's an old friend. Maybe, just maybe, someone is reaching out first this time. He fumbles for the phone, presses it to his ear. But the voice on the other end is not his son, not an old friend, not someone calling to reconnect. "I'm sorry to inform you, your best friend has passed away." The words land like a hammer to his ribs, knocking the air from his lungs. His grip tightens, his breath catches. The room seems to shift, tilting under the weight of something he can't quite name. The voice on the other end keeps speaking, something about arrangements, something about condolences. But Richard hears none of it. His mind is stuck on one thought, sinking deep into his bones like ice. I should have called him first. His mouth goes dry. He swallows, but it doesn't help. He wants to say something, anything, but no words come. Just silence, just regret, just the unbearable realization that all those times he told himself next week, they had run out. There is no next week. His grip loosens. The phone slips from his fingers, landing with a dull thud against the wooden table. The sound echoes in the empty room, stretching into the silence, filling every corner with a truth he can't ignore. He thought loneliness was something that just happened to people, something that crept in through quiet nights and empty rooms. But now, as he sits there, staring at the phone that came too late, he understands. Loneliness isn't just something that happens to you. It's something you allow to happen. The house feels colder tonight, but maybe that's just him. The weight in his chest hasn't lifted, and the silence, once a companion, now feels like a prison. He stares at the phone where he left it, the same phone that once connected him to a world that now seems out of reach. He thought he had time. He thought friendships, like old records, could be dusted off, played again, their melodies waiting for him whenever he was ready. But time doesn't wait, and neither do people. His fingers hover over the screen, scrolling through names that once meant something. Names tied to laughter, to long-forgotten jokes, to nights spent talking about everything and nothing. So many numbers, so many voices that have faded into memory. He stops at one, a name he's thought about calling before, too many times to count, but he always found a reason not to. What if it's been too long? What if they don't pick up? What if they've already moved on? But another thought pushes its way in, one heavier, sharper, impossible to ignore. What if this is my last chance? His chest tightens. His thumb hovers over the call button. For a brief moment, doubt creeps in. He almost closes the screen, almost lets this moment slip away, like all the others. But this time, he doesn't. He presses dial. The line rings once, twice. His grip tightens. His pulse quickens. What if they don't answer? What if it goes to voicemail? What if this is too little, too late? A third ring, and then a voice, warm, familiar, a voice from a life that isn't gone, but waiting, a voice from a friendship that still exists, if only he is willing to reach for it. Hello? A breath, one he didn't realize he was holding, escapes his lips. He swallows the lump in his throat, closes his eyes for a moment, lets the sound of that voice settle into the quiet spaces inside him. And then he smiles, because this time, finally, he got it right. Hey, it's been a while. Friendships don't just survive on their own. You have to fight for them. One day, your phone will ring. Maybe it will be early in the morning when the world is still asleep, or late at night when the darkness makes everything feel a little heavier. You'll pick it up, expecting a familiar voice, hoping for a casual conversation, a laugh, a memory shared. But instead, you'll hear a stranger, a somber tone, words that steal the air from your lungs. I'm sorry to inform you. And just like that, another name on your list becomes a name you'll never say aloud again. Another call you meant to make becomes a call you can never return. Another conversation you thought you had time for becomes a conversation that will never happen. You will sit there, gripping the phone, wishing for just one more chance, just 5 minutes, just one moment to say something, anything. But the silence on the other end will tell you what you already know. It's too late. But today, right now, it isn't. So pick up the phone, call them. Not tomorrow, not next week, not soon. Now, because one day, your phone will ring, but it won't be them calling you. It will be someone telling you they're gone. At Elderly Wisdom Story, we share the lessons too many people learn too late. We tell the stories that matter, the ones that remind us to cherish what we have before it slips away. If you believe in the power of wisdom, in the lessons that come with age, in the moments that define a life, then stay with us. Subscribe now. Let's keep these stories alive. For you, for them, for the time we still have.